Picture this. You wake up one morning worth over $140 billion. You walk downstairs, in a house you bought in 1958. For $31,500. You drive yourself to work, not in a Ferrari, not in a Rolls-Royce, in a used Cadillac XTS. And for breakfast? You stop at McDonald's. You count out exact change. You spend no more than $3.17. This isn't some monk living off the grid. This is Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, the man who turned a $100 investment into one of the greatest fortunes in human history. And here's the question that should blow your mind. Why? Why does the world's most successful investor, a man who could literally buy a small country, choose to live like this? Today, we're breaking down Warren Buffett's personal budget, line by line, and uncovering the philosophy behind every dollar he spends, or doesn't spend. Let's get into it. Let's start with the most iconic piece of the Buffett budget, the house. In 1958, a young Warren Buffett paid $31,500 for a 5-bedroom stucco home at 5505 Farnham Street in Omaha, Nebraska. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $330,000 today. Which, honestly, is still a modest home by billionaire standards. He calls it the second best investment he ever made. The first? His wedding ring. Now here's what's wild. This house has no gate. No security guard at the entrance. No helicopter pad. Neighbors walk their dogs past it every morning without a second thought. Buffett has said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that his house gives him everything he needs. A warm place to sleep. Space for his family. Memories. He's been offered countless times to move into something more befitting his status. A mansion in Beverly Hills. A penthouse in New York. A private island. He always says no. And this is the first lesson hidden inside Buffett's budget. A home is for living, not for showing off. The moment you buy a house to impress someone else, you've made a financial decision for all the wrong reasons. The Buffett house costs him essentially nothing in mortgage. It was paid off decades ago. His housing cost as a percentage of his net worth is so small it doesn't register. Compare that to the average American who spends 30 to 35% of their income on housing. Buffett's housing expense is functionally 0%. That freed up capital? It went into Berkshire Hathaway. Into Coca-Cola. Into American Express. Into the companies that made him $100 billion. Okay, let's talk about food. Because this is where it gets genuinely funny. Warren Buffett's diet is, by his own admission, that of a 6-year-old. McDonald's is a morning staple. He's talked about 3 specific orders depending on how he feels: a sausage McMuffin with egg, $3.17, a sausage McMuffin, $2.95, or, when he's feeling really frugal, 2 sausage biscuits, $2.61. He keeps a running total in his head. If the markets are looking rough that morning, he goes cheaper. This is a man who could have a personal chef. He could eat at a Michelin-star restaurant every single day for the rest of his life without even noticing the expense. But he doesn't want to. Buffett has said he simply eats what he enjoys, and he enjoys simple food. Cherry Coke. Chocolate chip ice cream. Potato chips. Hamburgers. This is critical, and most people miss it. Buffett doesn't deprive himself. He's not miserable. He's not white-knuckling through life counting every calorie and every cent out of fear. He spends money on what genuinely brings him joy, and he doesn't spend money on things that other people think should bring him joy. That is a completely different mindset than budgeting out of scarcity. It's budgeting out of intentionality. Now, does he ever splurge on food? Yes, occasionally. He's known to enjoy steakhouse dinners, particularly at Gorit's in Omaha, his favorite local restaurant. But even that is a modest, unpretentious place. His total estimated daily food spend? Experts have put it at roughly $10, $15 per day. One of the wealthiest humans on earth. $10 to $15 a day on food. Let's talk about the car situation, because this one really gets people. For years, Buffett drove a Lincoln Town Car. Then a Cadillac DTS. Then a Cadillac XTS. All used. All modest. He didn't have a driver. He drove himself. He even had a license plate that read, "I'm not making this up." Thrifty. Now, he did accept a new Cadillac XTS as a gift from General Motors after Berkshire Hathaway helped rescue GM during the financial crisis. That car was auctioned off for charity. His next car? Another used Cadillac. Buffett jokes about this. He once said something like, "I get a new car every few years whether I need one or not." Here's the financial logic he's living by: a car is a depreciating asset. The moment you drive it off the lot, it starts losing value. The average American buys a new car every 6 years, spending tens of thousands of dollars, money that could be compounding in investments. Buffett doesn't see a car as a status symbol. He sees it as a machine that gets him from point A to point B. And every dollar he doesn't spend on a $300,000 Bentley is a dollar sitting inside Berkshire Hathaway, compounding at rates most investors only dream about. Here's one that shocks people every single time. Warren Buffett's annual salary from Berkshire Hathaway is $100,000. $100,000. For running one of the largest companies in the world. The average S&P 500 CEO makes north of $15 to $20 million per year in combined salary, bonuses, and stock options. Buffett takes $100,000. That's it. Why? Because he doesn't need to pay himself more. His wealth is tied to Berkshire Hathaway stock. He owns roughly 16% of the company. When Berkshire does well, he does well. His incentives are completely aligned with the shareholders, because he is the biggest shareholder. This is almost unheard of in modern corporate America. Most CEOs extract maximum pay regardless of performance. Buffett's entire compensation philosophy says, if the company wins, I win. If the company loses, I feel it too. Out of that $100,000 salary? He reportedly lives comfortably in Omaha. His Omaha lifestyle, the house that's paid off, the cheap breakfasts, the modest car, costs him a fraction of that. The rest? Donated. Invested. Compounded. So now we have to ask the real question: what is Warren Buffett actually doing here? Is this just quirky billionaire behavior? Is he putting on a show for the cameras? No. And here's how I know. Buffett has been living this way since before he was a billionaire. Before he was a millionaire. His entire life has been structured around one core principle. Every dollar you spend today is a dollar that can't compound tomorrow. He calls this thinking in terms of opportunity cost. When he was young and had very little money, he would calculate the future value of every purchase. A $10 haircut wasn't $10, it was $100,000 in 40 years, given his expected rate of return. Now, most of us can't, and probably shouldn't, take this to the extreme Buffett does. Life is for living. But the principle is worth sitting with. How many of your purchases today are driven by genuine joy, and how many are driven by social comparison, habit, or status anxiety? Buffett eliminated status anxiety from his financial life almost completely. He doesn't care what car you drive. He doesn't care about your watch. He doesn't care about the neighborhood you live in. He cares about compounding capital and living a life that genuinely makes him happy. And his genuinely happy life costs very little. He also lives by another rule: inner scorecard versus outer scorecard. He asks, are you living by your own values, or by what other people think your values should be? Most people live by the outer scorecard, buying things to signal success. Buffett has always lived by the inner scorecard. So what do we take from all of this? You don't have to move into a $31,500 house. You don't have to eat McDonald's every morning. You don't have to drive a used Cadillac. But here's what you can do starting today. 1. Know the difference between spending that brings you real joy versus spending that's meant to impress someone else. 2. Respect your future self. Every dollar you save and invest today is working for your future. Buffett understood compound interest in his teenage years. That 60-year head start is why he's worth $140 billion. 3. Separate your identity from your possessions. Buffett is one of the most respected, admired, and beloved figures on earth, not because of his house or his car, but because of his mind, his integrity, and his track record. The house at 5505 Farnham Street isn't a symbol of deprivation. It's a symbol of clarity. Warren Buffett knows exactly who he is, exactly what he values, and exactly what money is for. Do you? If this video made you think differently about how you spend money, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. I want to know, what's one expense in your life that you're reconsidering right now? See you in the next one.